She didn't want to go on screen. She's out of here. Must have heard the mailman or something. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Friday. Last day of reading before the weekend. Oh, are we home? Also can't miss the touchdown. Adonis is in. Here, right? Nice. Got a hot tub. Wow. Yeah, there we go. All right, guys. I need those read alouds for Mrs. Video yourself. Send it in to me. I'm gonna add it to the clips. I'm gonna make a book. We're gonna make a thing where to send it to them. Finish filming my read alouds. Good. If I don't get them today, I'm just gonna I'm gonna send some emails out to people that are getting them done. It's okay if you didn't do it yet. If you can, that'll be great. Today. If you can't do it today, by tomorrow. I'd like to get them out by Monday. So as long as I get them today would be great. If you can get them to me tomorrow, that's great. I know Sunday's Easter Sunday, so it's going to be harder. Dylan, how are you? I'm glad you're back. Good. Thank you, Bree. Thank you, Daniel. You can do the reading after. Great. My phone fell. Where's Dean? Dean said something. Oh, I hate Julian. Yeah, I hate Julian too. Not nice to hit. I got yours, Allison. Bobby, did you do your read aloud yet? Finish mine. Julia, I got yours. Christian, I got yours. Happy late birthday to Dylan. Are you guys? I guess you guys are able to see each other's comments, which is good. Okay, good. Guess who's back? Back again. Puppy's back. She's camera shy though. She'd rather just take a nap. Dean, if you can get yours done. Again, if you don't want to do it, you're not able to do it, just say I'm not doing it. It's not a deal. I just want to get the book done. I'd like to have everybody in it, but if it's not possible, it's not possible. I know some people have already emailed me or I talked to family. They weren't able to do it, and that's fine. What's up, Nick? Madonna? Ava, your lines, if you go to the stream, where are they? I'm going to put it to the top of the stream right now. Here we go. Stream, move to top. Okay, the lines are all the way, they're sent to the top. Ava, you have one sentence, two sentence. Ava, you got three sentences to read. Not bad. You'll see three sentences. If you can't do them, let me know. I know you're a good reader. You'd be fun to have on there. So let me know. Bells, I got yours. Michael, how are you? I got Matthews. What about you, Dean? I think, Dean, you got two. Dean, you got two real small ones. You're supposed to say, what is a spot of kindness, Dean? And the other one's pretty small, too. What about Daniel, whenever you get a chance? Adonis, whenever you get a chance. Maddie C, I got yours. Maddie J, I got yours. Kira's, I need Kira's. I need Preston's. Bells, I got yours. Bobby, I need yours. Allie, I got yours. Aaliyah, I need yours. Hey, what are you shaking for? Ryan, I need yours. And then we're good to go. All right. All right, guys, let's get started. Thank you, Julia. Thank you, Bree. Thank you, Daniel. Don't panic. If you can't get to me today, life goes on. Good. Adonis, just send it to me. Just add it. Click a stream comment, add it, and send it right to me. All right, I think you got to add it to Google Drive first, and then you can send it to me. Bob, if you go to the stream, you'll find your sentence. I think you only have one, Bob. Probably should have had you do more. You got great energy. Bobby, your sentences, I know sometimes it's hard to remember to be kind, and that's why I'm here to help. That's yours, Bobby. Valentina, woo! Oh, tomorrow, guys, what I'm going to do, I'm not sure what time. I wish I knew the time. My wife didn't tell me yet. I got this cool, we're going to do a little, I don't know how many of you guys decorate Easter eggs. Does anybody do that? I'm gonna do some YouTube live of my videoing my Easter eggs. I got this new this spinner decorator, so I'm gonna YouTube live it. You guys can check it out. Come say hello. Yeah, Julia, the last one's good. I wanted as many as you can to do the last sentence, only if you want to. Okay, cool. I'm gonna be decorating Easter eggs tomorrow. I'm sure some of you will be too. So if you want to check my YouTube out tomorrow, you'll be with me when I decorate my Easter eggs. Yeah, Julie, I'm going to post it for everybody. Absolutely. Everybody's going to get it. I bought the supplies a while ago. It's the only reason I have them. It's going to be on this channel. I'm going to post it on the site. I'm going to let you know when I'm going on so you guys can chime in and see what's going on. Most people do them on Saturday, I find. We're hard boiling the eggs right now as we speak. I love hard boiled eggs too, by the way. That's the one problem with them. I can eat 12 of them in one sitting. A little salt. Ooh, so good. Yeah, this year's tough to decorate. I can understand if you don't decorate them this year. What are you shaking for? You chilly? Thursday, I meant. Pepper. Pepper. I like to dye them too. I'm just trying something new with markers. It's like a little spinny Easter bunny. Have you seen it? Let me show you. I'll show you my new invention. No, it's not my new invention. Let me see what I got here. Okay. In the kitchen. Here we go. Here's the little Easter bunny. Take a look. What we do with the Easter bunny is we get an egg. One egg. Put it in the egg holder. And then you take a marker, whatever color you want, and you design it. And you just hold the marker out. And if you look closely, the egg is spinning. And tell Dylan, I agree. Tell mom, unless it's a real bunny, every single bunny is creepy. There's not a bunny on the planet. Those fake bunnies, that's not creepy. I can't stand those bunnies in the mall or any kind of rabbit that's dressed. They're all kind of spooky looking. You coming back up here? But it is honestly what you do with that marker is you hold the marker out, and as it spins, the colors change. You could add like a million different colors, and it just decorates it for you. So it's really, I'm hoping it's cool. It's something new, first time ever, but we'll go from there. All right, now we're gonna get started. Matt hates it. I'm gonna show you how cool they are when they're done. We'll see if you hate it then. That mall Easter bunny, boy, that could give me nightmares for a week. Bunnies are my sister has two rabbits. They are tough. Rabbits are tough. All right. How did the birthday parade go? My daughter had one of her birthday parades for one of her friends. All right.
Gave her the sign.
She did. All right. All right. We're going to get started. Brianna, that's what I'm talking about. Just like you said.
What?
I'm talking to Brianna, not you. Bobby, I know you can type fast. Nobody cares. Bobby, you get it? All right. We're going to get going right now. Name of the chapter is Home. Remember we last left him. We met Julian. We met some of his friends. Okay, here we go. Now only the talk on the side is going to be about the book. No, it's not down. It's down. Okay, here we go. As soon as he walked at least half a block from school, Mom said, "So, how'd it go? Did you like it?" "Not yet, Mom. When we get home," I said. Excuse me. How to move. My family's all over the place today. "Not yet, Mom. When we get home," I said. So she didn't want to talk about it yet. The moment we got inside the house, I ran to my room and threw myself onto my bed. I could tell my mom didn't know what was up. And I guess I really didn't either. I felt very, very sad and a tiny bit happy at the same exact time. Kind of like that laughing, crying feeling all over again. My dog Daisy followed me into the room, jumped on the bed, and started licking me all over my face. Who's a good girlie? I said in my dad's voice. Who's a good girlie? Is everything okay, sweetness? Mom said. She wanted to sit down beside me, but Daisy was hogging the bed. Excuse me, Daisy. She sat down, nudging Daisy over. Were those kids not nice to you, Augie? Oh, no, I said, only half lying. They were okay. But were they nice? Mr. Tushman went out of his way to tell me that they were sweet, sweet kids. Did I skip a chapter? Sorry, Dylan, you're right. Skip the chapter. Everyone, we're going to revert back to the deal. Thank you, Dylan. I did that with Chasing Lincoln's Killer, but it was much worse. I read almost the whole chapter. Okay. Guys, welcome to the Read Aloud today. We're going to start over with the deal. Here we go. So they just had met. Now they go back to Mr. Tushman's office. Here we go. Mom and Mr. Tushman were talking when we got back to the office. Mrs. Garcia was the first to see us come back, and she started smiling, her shiny smile again, as we walked in. So, August, what do you think? Did you like what you saw? She asked. Yeah, I nodded, looking over at Mom. Jack, Julian, and Charlotte were standing by the door, not sure where to go or if they were still needed. I wondered what else they'd been told about me before they met me. Did you see the baby chick? Mom asked me. As I shook my head, Julian said, Are you talking about the baby chicks in science? Those get donated to a farm at the end of every school year. Oh, said Mom, disappointed. But they hatch new ones every year in science, Julian added. So August will be able to see them again in the spring. This is a fake Julian when it's nice around adults. Oh, good, said Mom, eyeing me. That was so cute, August. I wish you wouldn't talk to me like that. I was a baby in front of other people. So, August, said Mr. Tushman, did those guys show you around enough, or do you want to see more? I realized I forgot to ask them to show you the gym. We did it anyway, Mr. Tushman, said Julian. Excellent, said Mr. Tushman. And I told him about the school play and some of the electives, said Charlotte. Oh no, she said suddenly. We forgot to show him the art room. That's okay, said Mr. Tushman. But we could show it to him now, Charlotte offered. Don't we have to pick up Via soon? I said to Mom. That was our signal for telling Mom if I really wanted to leave. Oh, you're right, said Mom, getting up. I could tell she was pretending to check the time on her watch. I'm sorry, everybody. I lost track of the time. We have to go pick up my daughter at her new school. She's taking an unofficial tour today. This part wasn't a lie. That Via was checking out her new school today, too. The part that was a lie was that we were picking her up at the school, which we weren't. She was coming home with Dad later. Where does she go to school? Asked Mr. Tushman, getting up. She's starting Faulkner High School this fall. Wow, that's not an easy school to get into. Good for her. Thank you, said Mom, nodding. It'll be a bit of a schlep, though. The A train down to 86th Street, then the crosstown bus all the way to the east side. Takes an hour that way. But it's just a 15-minute drive. It'll be worth it. I know a couple of kids who got into Faulkner and love it, said Mr. Tushman. In the city, kids kind of pick their own schools if you have the ability to do it. Private schools. And just because you're brother and sister doesn't mean you're going to go to the same school. Not just based on grade either. Some people just go to completely different schools. We should really go, Mom, I said, tugging on a pocketbook. We said goodbye kind of quickly after that. I think Mr. Tushman was a little surprised that we were leaving so suddenly. And then I wondered if we would blame Jack and Charlotte, even though it was really only Julian who made me feel kind of bad. Everyone was really nice. I made sure to tell Mr. Tushman before we left. I look forward to having you as a student, said Mr. Tushman, patting my back. Bye, I said to Jack, Charlotte, and Julian. But I didn't look at them or look up at all until I left the building. They all live in the city. They all live in the city. Every one of them. Let me get the light on. I can see better. Okay. Ooh, let there be light. Okay, now we're on where we started, home. Thank you again, Dylan. As soon as we had walked at least half a block from the school, Mom said, So, how'd it go? Did you like it? Not yet, Mom. When we get home, I said. The moment we got inside the house, I ran to my room and threw myself onto my bed. I could tell Mom didn't know what was up. I guess I really didn't either. I felt really sad and a tiny bit happy at the exact same time. Kind of like that laughing, crying feeling all over again. My dog Daisy followed me into the room, jumped on the bed and started licking me all over my face. Who's a good girlie? I said in my dad's voice. Who's a good girlie? Everybody does that voice to their dog. At least I do. Is everything okay, sweetness? Mom said she wanted to sit down beside me, but Daisy was hogging the bed. Excuse me, Daisy, she sat down, nudging Daisy over. Were those kids not nice to you, Augie? Oh, no, I said, only half lying. They were okay, but were they nice? Mr. Tushman went out of his way to tell me what sweet kids they are. Uh-huh, I nodded, but I kept looking at Daisy, kissing her on the nose and rubbing her ear until her back leg did that thing, flea scratching shake. When dogs, you get a dog's right spot, they really like they're itching. Very cute thing that dogs do. That boy Julian seemed really nice, Mom said. Oh, no, he was the least nice. I like Jack, though. He was nice. I thought his name was Jack Will, but it's just Jack. Well, you see how his mother thought Julian was the nicest one. Julian was the one talking the most, but he was the most fake. Wait, maybe I'm getting them confused. Which one was the one with the dark hair that was brushed forward? That was Julian. And he wasn't nice? No, and not nice. Oh, she thought about it for a second. Okay, so is he the kind of kid who's one way in front of grown-ups and another way in front of kids? Yeah, I guess. I hate those, she answered, nodding. He was like, So, August, what's the deal with your face? And I said, looking at Daisy the whole time, were you in a fire or something? Mom didn't say anything. When I looked up at her, I could tell she was completely shocked. He didn't say it in a mean way, though, I said quickly. He was just asking. Mom nodded. But I really like Jack, I said. He was like, "Shut up, Julian." And Charlotte was like, "You're so rude, Julian." Mom nodded again. She pressed her fingers on her forehead like she was pushing against her headache. "I'm so sorry, Augie," she said quietly. Her cheeks were bright red. "No, it's okay, Mom. Really. You don't have to go to school if you don't want to, sweetie." "I want to," I said. "Augie?" "Really, Mom, I want to." This time, I wasn't lying. So he's ready. He said, "You know what? If Julian's the worst of it, if Julian is the toughest part of this, I'll be okay. I'll survive it." First day jitters. We've all get first day jitters. I don't care if you're brand new. I don't care if you have a unique face. I don't care about nothing. I care if everything's right in the world and you know everybody in your class, you're still going to get first day jitters. It's just life. I get them. 45 years old. I've been basically in school for 40 years. I have a first day of school. And every single year I get jitters. I agree, Dean. And Dean says a great point there. At least he told his parents. So important that you keep your parents aware of what's going on. Even if you hear something that you think is embarrassing to say out loud, maybe he was embarrassed that Julian picked on him, but he told his mother, make your parents aware of what's going on. Julie Ferrioli has a good point. What if Julian is not the worst part? Then we have some issues. Again, remember, it gets emotional, this book, and we have to understand that this is stuff that happens to people. We got to make sure that we learn about it and hear about it, and we become better from learning through Augie's experiences. Okay, here we go. First day jitters. Okay, so I admit that the first day of school, I was so nervous that the butterflies in my stomach were more like pigeons flying around my insides. Mom and Dad were probably a little nervous too, but they acted all excited for me, taking pictures of me and Via before we left the house, since it was Via's first day of school as well. Up until a few days before, we still weren't sure I would be going to school at all. After my tour of the school, Mom and Dad had reversed sides on whether I should go or not. Mom was now the one saying I shouldn't go, and Dad was saying I should. Dad had told me he was really proud of how I handled myself with Julian and that I was turning into quite the strong man. And I heard him tell Mom that he now thought she had been right all along. But Mom now, I could tell, wasn't so sure anymore. When Dad told her that he and Bea wanted to walk me to school today, too, since it was on the way to the subway station, Mom seemed relieved we would all be going together. I guess I was too. Even though Beecher Prep is just a few blocks from my house, I've only been on that block a couple of times before. In general, I try to avoid blocks where there are a lot of kids roaming around. On our block, everybody knows me, and if I know everybody. And I know every brick and every tree trunk and every crack in the sidewalk. I know Mrs. Grimaldi, the lady who's always sitting by a window, and the old guy who walks up and down the street whistling like a bird. I know the deli on the corner where Mom gets our bagels, and the waitress at the coffee shop, who all call me honey and gave me lollipops whenever they see me. I love my neighborhood of North River Heights, which is why it was so strange to be walking down those blocks, feeling like it was all new to me suddenly. Amsford Avenue, a street I've been down a million times, looked totally different for some reason, full of people I've never saw before, waiting for buses, pushing strollers. We crossed Amsford and turned up Heights Place. Via walked next to me like she usually does, and Mom and Dad were behind us. As soon as we turned the corner, we saw all the kids in the front of the school, hundreds of them, talking to each other in little groups, laughing or standing with their parents who were talking with other parents. I kept my head down. Everyone's just as nervous as you are, said Via in my ear. Just remember that this is everyone's first day of school, okay? Mr. Tushman was greeting students and parents in front of the school entrance. I have to admit, so far nothing had happened. I didn't catch anyone staring at or even noticing me. Only once did I look up to see some girls looking my way and whispering with their hands cupped over their mouths, but they looked away when they saw me notice them. We reached the front entrance. Okay, so this is it, big boy, said Dad, putting his hands on top of my shoulders. Have a great first day. I love you, said Via, giving me a big hug, big kiss and a hug. You too, I said. I love you, Augie, said Dad, hugging me. Bye. Then Mom hugged me. I could tell she was about to cry, which would have totally embarrassed me. So I just gave her a fast, hard hug, turned and disappeared into the school. So he's ready. He's walking on the street and seeing tons of people he's never seen before because he's never been on that street, at that time of the day. Early morning, people are going to school, going to work, taking the baby to the babysitter so they can go to work. People are everywhere on the street. He's never really seen any of them before, so he's doing anything not to look up. He arrives at school, and we all know that feeling when everybody shows up at school. Everybody's a little excited. Everybody's a little nervous. Everybody goes to where they're comfortable. Augie doesn't know anybody. It's Jack, Will, Julian, Charlotte. Hard for him. Now, even the parents know each other. Parents are talking, so it's a little, you can imagine, a little bit overwhelming. But Augie's like, let me get it going. He's big. He's tough. His dad says you're ready. He feels ready. It's amazing what you could do when you start feeling that people believe in you. Hold on one second. Let me shut this lamp. It's not so bright. Okay, here we go. Mr. Tough Man. Augie is the best. I agree. Okay. I went straight to room 301 on the third floor. Now, I was glad I'd gone on that little tour because I knew exactly where to go and didn't have to look up once. I noticed that some kids were definitely staring at me now. I did my thing of pretending not to notice. I went inside the classroom, and the teacher was writing on the chalkboard while all the kids started sitting at different desks. The desks were in a half circles facing the chalkboard, so I chose the desk in the middle, toward the back, which I thought would make it harder for anyone to stare at me. I still kept my head down, just looking up enough for under my bangs to see everyone's feet. As the desk started to fill up, I did notice that no one sat down next to me. You can see that's sad that happens. And I can understand why he would be sad. A couple of times, someone was about to sit next to me, then changed his or her mind at the last minute and sat somewhere else. Listen, Jack, you said you would. I would put $1 million on it that you would. I've seen you in action. You don't care. You're a good guy. You're a good friend. And you're just a good person. So I'm not surprised about that at all. Unless you're the fake Jack. No chance of that. Listen, we're blessed with our class. We are blessed with our class. Augie would have fit in perfectly with us. Hey, August. It was Charlotte giving me her little wave as she sat down at her desk in the front of the class. Why anyone would ever choose to sit way up front in the class, I don't know. Hey, I said, nodding hello. Then I noticed Julian was sitting a few seats away from her, talking to some other kids. I know he saw me, but he didn't even say hello. Suddenly, someone was sitting down next to me. It was Jack Jack. What's up? He said, nodding at me. Hey, Jack, I answered, waving my hand, which I immediately wished I hadn't done because it felt kind of uncool. Someone sits next to you, you say, hey, Augie waved. You don't really wave at each other when you're sitting next to each other. So you can see, he's like, gee, why did I do that? Now you're starting to think, now I'm not cool because I waved. Okay, kids, everybody sit down. So everybody settle down, said the teacher, now facing up. She had written her name, Mrs. Petosa, on the chalkboard. Everybody find a seat, please. Come in, she said to a couple of kids who had just walked in the room. There's a seat there and also right there. She hadn't noticed me yet. Now, the first thing I want everyone to do is stop talking. And she noticed me. Put your backpacks down and quiet down. She had only hesitated for a millionth of a second, but I could tell the moment she saw me. Like I said, I'm used to it by now. I'm going to take attendance and do the seating chart, she continued, sitting on the edge of her desk. Next to her were 3 neat rows of accordion folders. When I call your name, come up and I'll hand you a folder with your name on it. It contains your class schedule and your combination lock, which you shouldn't try to open until I tell you to. Your locker number is written on the class schedule. Be forewarned that some lockers are not right outside this class, but down the hall. And before anyone even thinks of asking, no, you cannot switch lockers, and you cannot switch lockers, and you can't switch locks. Then it's their time. At the end of, excuse me. Then, if there's time at the end of this period, we're all going to get to know each other a little bit better. Okay? Okay. She picked up the clipboard and on her desk and started reading the names aloud. Okay, so Julian Albans, she said, looking up. Julian raised his hand and said, here at the same time. Hi, Julian, she said, making a note on her seating chart. She picked up the very first folder and held it out toward him. Come pick it up, she said, kind of no nonsense. He got up and took it from her. Zima Chin? It's another student in the class. She handed a folder to each kid as she read off the names. As she went down the list, I noticed that the seat next to me was the only one still empty, even though there were 2 kids sitting at one desk, just a few seats away. When she called the name of one of them, a big kid named Henry Joplin, who already looked like a teenager, she said, Henry, there's an empty desk right over there. Why don't you take that seat, okay? So how bad is that? You have an empty seat next to you, and there's 2 kids sharing a desk because they don't want to take your desk. Rude. She handed him his folder and pointed to the desk next to mine. Although I didn't look at him directly, I could tell Henry did not want to move next to me. Just by the way he dragged his backpack on the floor as he came over like he was moving in slow motion. Then he plopped his backpack up really high on the right side of that desk. So it was kind of like a wall between his desk and mine. I always tell this story because when people set up that wall, you know, if it happens to you, that you know that that person doesn't want to go next to you. When I was younger, my older brother, we love our cereal. We would get up and get our cereal every morning. But my older brother would be the sloppiest cereal eater you've ever met in your life. To this day, I can't even sit by him. But he would slurp. It would gross me out to the point where I would build a cereal box wall between us. And I did that so he knew I didn't want to see him. Nasty, you could say, Mr. Calvin, I was nasty of you. I wouldn't be able to eat if I didn't build that wall because it was so gross. He had milk dripping off his face. If he finds out that I'm telling this story, he's not going to be happy. And he's much bigger than me. So I hope he doesn't watch YouTube live because we're all in trouble. Goodbye. So, pretty funny story, though. That's a true story. But differently, I love my brother. I don't ever want him to feel left out except when we're eating cereal. But this guy doesn't even know Augie, and he's building that wall. So that is kind of nasty. So we're off to a rough start with this guy. Good old Henry Joplin. Okay. Where am I? I read that. Henry, okay, good. She handed him his folder, plopped it down, and he built the desk between him and his mine, okay. Maya Markowitz, Mr. Potosi was saying. Here, said a girl about 4 desks down from me. Miles Nowry? Here, said the kid that had been sitting with Henry Joplin. As he walked back to his desk, I saw him shoot Henry a poor you look. So when Miles, the guy that Henry was sitting with, he looks at Henry like, better you than me. So now you can tell Miles doesn't seem like the nicest guy either. Or at least he's a follower. August Pullman, said Mrs. Potosa. Here, I said quietly, raising my hand a bit. Hi, August, she said, smiling at me very nicely when I went up to get my folder. I kind of felt everyone's eyes burning into my back for the few seconds I stood up in the front of the class, and everybody looked down when I walked back to my desk. I resisted spinning the combination when I sat down, even though everyone else was doing it, because she had specifically told us not to. I was already pretty good at opening locks anyway because I've used them on my bike. Henry kept trying to open his lock, but he couldn't do it. He was getting frustrated and kind of cursing under his breath. By the way, a little pointer. Make sure this summer you go out and buy a lock, a combination lock, and practice on it. It costs about $4. It'll be the best $4 you ever spend because I started middle school in 7th grade. My whole middle school year, I couldn't open my school lock. Still haunts me to this day. I should have got one in the summer and practiced. And it was so stressful for me every time I needed to go to my locker. If you already know how to do it, great. If not, get one and practice. You'll thank me later. So here's Henry. He can't open his lock. You think maybe he'll help Henry, if Henry will take his help. Let's see. Miss Petosa called up the next few names. The last name was Jack Will. After she handed Jack his folder, she said, okay, so everybody write your combinations down somewhere safe that you won't forget, okay? But if you do forget, which happens at least 3.2 times per semester, Mrs. Garcia has a list of all the combination numbers. Now go ahead, take your locks out of your folders, and spend a couple of minutes practicing how to open them up. Though I know some of you went ahead and did that anyway. She was looking at Henry when she said that. And in the meantime, I'll tell you guys a little something about myself. And then you guys can tell me a little something about yourselves. And get to know each other. Sound good? Good. She smiled at everyone, though I felt like she was smiling at me the most. It wasn't a shiny smile like Mrs. Garcia's smile, but a normal smile like she meant it. She looked very different from what I thought teachers were going to look like. I guess I thought she looked like Mrs. Fowl from Jimmy Neutron, an old lady with a big bun on top of her head. But in fact, she looked exactly like Mon Mothma. You guys would know this name, you Star Wars guys. Mon Mothma from Star Wars Episode 6. Haircut, kind of like a boy's, and a big white shirt, kind of like a tunic. She turned around and started writing on the chalkboard. Henry still couldn't get his lock open, and he was getting more and more frustrated every time someone else popped one open. He got really annoyed when I was able to open mine on the first try. The funny thing is, if he hadn't put the backpack between us, I most definitely would have offered to help him. So he would have done it. August would have helped Henry, but Henry set up the wall. And August didn't feel comfortable breaking down that wall, so to speak. He would have, if there was no wall there, August would have helped him. And maybe, Isabella, you're right, it could have been a good friendship, but didn't work out that way. These Star Wars characters I have no idea about, but I'm guessing just someone with a short haircut the teacher looks like. The teacher has short hair. You Star Wars people probably know who Mon Mothma is. Okay, so what time are we in? Well, we're already 38 minutes in. I don't want to keep you guys too long. I'm going to read one more. We'll do one more. Mrs. Petosa told us a little bit about who she was. It was boring stuff about where she originally came from and how she always wanted to teach and how she left her job on Wall Street about 6 years ago to pursue her dream and teach kids. She ended by asking if anyone had any questions, and Julian raised his hand. Yes, Julian. Yes, she had to look at the list to remember his name. Yes, Julian? I just wanted to say, that's really cool about how you pursuing your dream and leaving Wall Street to become a teacher. I think that's really cool, he said. Thank you, Julian. You're welcome. He smiled proudly. What do you think about that? Julian's at it again. In my time, they would call someone like that an Eddie Haskell. You can ask your parents if they know who Eddie Haskell is. It's really not even my time. It's my parents' time. It's from a TV show called Leave It to Beaver. Eddie Haskell was someone who was just like Julian, really nice in front of parents and really much a troublemaker when they weren't there. Eddie Haskell is that name. So Julian is at it again. Okay, so why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Julian? Actually, here's what I want everyone to do. Think of 2 things you want other people to know about you. Actually, wait a minute. How many of you come from Beecher Lower School? About half the kids raise their hands. Okay, so if you already know each other, but the rest of you, I guess you are new to the school, right? Okay, so everyone think of 2 things you want other people to know about you. And if you know some of the other kids, try to think of things they don't already know about you, okay? So let's start with Julian, and we'll go around the room. Julian scrunched up his face and started tapping his forehead like he was thinking really hard. Okay, whenever you're ready, Mrs. Petosa said. Okay, so number one is that do me a favor and start with your name, okay? Mrs. Petosa interrupted. It'll help everybody remember. Oh, okay. So my name is Julian. And the number one thing I like to tell everyone about myself is that I just got Battleground Mystic for my Wii. And it's totally awesome. And the number two thing is that we got a ping pong table this summer. Very nice. I love ping pong, said Mrs. Petosa. Does anyone have any questions for Julian? Is background music mystic multiplayer or one player? Said the kid named Miles. Not those kind of question, guys, said Mrs. Petosa. Okay, so how about you? She pointed to Charlotte. Probably because her desk was closest to the front. Oh, sure, Charlotte said. Didn't hesitate for even a second, like she knew exactly what she wanted to say. My name is Charlotte. I have two sisters, and we just got a new puppy named Suki in July. We got her from an animal shelter, and she's so cute. That's great, Charlotte. Thank you, said Mrs. Petosa. Okay, then who's next? Look at that. I'm going to read this one chapter because I want you to hear what it's very short. What happens? Lamb to the slaughter. Remember, the dad was worried about August being with the other kids, and he said it would be like a lamb to the slaughter, meaning death, or social death, I should say. So, like a lamb to slaughter, something that you say about someone who goes somewhere calmly, not knowing that something unpleasant is going to happen to them. So all they're doing is introducing themselves. So what bad? It's nothing to be panicked about. Two things about yourself and move on. Nothing to panic about. Lamb to the slaughter. I Googled it last night. That's what I was thinking when Mrs. Petosa called my name. And suddenly it was my turn to talk. My name is August, I said. And yeah, I kind of mumbled it. What? Someone said. Can you speak up, honey? Said Mrs. Petosa. My name is August, I said louder, forcing myself to look up. I have a sister named Via and a dog named Daisy, and that's it. Wonderful, said Mrs. Petosa. Anyone have any questions for August? No one said anything. Okay, you're next, said Mrs. Petosa to Jack. Wait. I have a question for August, said Julian, raising his hand. Why do you have that tiny braid in the back of your hair? Is that like a Padawan thing? So picture August. I mean, he's got the longer hair in the front, the braids. In the back, he's got like a tightly wound braid in the back, like some of the odd girls in all classroom wear. Anybody can wear it. And in Star Wars, a Padawan is like a Jedi in training, and they have this thing in the back. We know that August likes Star Wars, so he's growing his hair with that braid in the back of his hair. And Julian noticed it. He thought now, in front of the whole class, was the time to ask him about it. Yeah, I shrugged, nodding. What's a Padawan thing? Said Mrs. Petosa, smiling at me. It's from Star Wars, answered Julian. A Padawan is a Jedi apprentice. Oh, interesting, answered Mrs. Petosa, looking at me. So are you into Star Wars, August? I guess, I nodded, not looking up because what I really wanted to was just slide under my desk. What's your favorite character? Julian asked. I started thinking. Maybe he wasn't so bad. Maybe he's asking, getting to know me. Jango Fett was his favorite character. What about Darth Sidious? He said. Do you like him? Now, for those of you who don't know who Darth Sidious is, you're like me. I didn't know, and I looked him up. Darth Sidious is an evil guy that his face looks like it was melted. That's who Darth Sidious is. Do you find the connection for why Julian would ask him, is that your favorite character? And do you see, I don't know if that was the nicest thing to say. Okay, guys, you could talk about Star Wars stuff at recess, said Mrs. Petosis cheerfully. But let's keep going. We haven't heard from you yet, she said to Jack. Now it was Jack's turn to talk, but I admit I didn't hear a word he said. Maybe no one got the Darth Sidious thing, and maybe Julian didn't mean anything at all by it. But in Star Wars, Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, Darth Sidious's face gets burned by Sith lightning and becomes totally deformed. His skin gets all shriveled up, and his whole face just kind of melts. I peeked at Julian as he was looking at me. Yeah, he knew what he was saying. So, that's it for today. Pretty nasty. And Julian, what's interesting about Julian, he knows the teacher doesn't know who Darth Sidious is. So look, he's actually being looked like he's caring about August and asking him questions. So the teacher says, wow, that's nice. You're really getting to know somebody. But if you know Star Wars, you know that Julian is not being kind and not being friendly. But he has an ulterior motive. And it works out perfectly for Julian. He can make fun of August. His buddies will all laugh after class. And the teacher thinks he was doing good. So Julian is a bit of a nasty genius, is what we call those kind of guys. People that know to outsmart adults and still be a bully. Those are the most dangerous kinds. So we end there. On Monday, we find out what happens when August goes home to tell Mom and Via and Dad about the first day of school. Maybe, and let's hope that some other good things happen. This is only first period. Let's hope the rest of his day on Monday gets better. Well, that's it for today. Yes, Ryan, he's a snake. I'm going to be posting about my Easter egg, hoping my scary bunny produces some cool eggs. And I look to see you guys. All right. I'll be talking to you soon. You're right, Christian. Definitely. Do me a favor and get me those videos. Aaliyah, make sure you get me the video. I know Miss Graves needs to see you. So make that video happen. All right, guys. Adios.